Russia, which is challenging the whole of Europe and the USA right now, 30 years ago was in total poverty and people were living under $2 a day, also suffering from a war against one of its regions. And if you think that Russians are still in that state, then in this video I'll tell you why it's not true and how the country made a comeback in the 21st century. And it's not just the propaganda which tells them what to do. How autocracy helped the Russian economy? Is it only oil and natural gas, and why did that growth stop at some point? Now there are two opposing points of view about the Russian economic boom in the 21st century. First, it was just the oil prices went up and Russia got billions and billions of dollars. The other is that it was wholly Putin, and without him it would be impossible. As always, the truth is in the middle. But first, what are the three main problems that Russia had in the 90s? Turn to market economy was very fast, but it was too incompetent with no normal laws, bad central bank policy and corruption. Another problem, Chechnya, the separatist region that Russia tried to get back by force but lost in the 1996. And the most important, poverty. In 2000, 24% of Russian people were living under $2 per day. For comparison, in Poland that percentage was 2% and in Lithuania 7.8%. The inflation in Russia was savage. In 1992 it was even up to 2,500%. In 2023 inflation in Russia was 7.4%. With those problems, first President Boris Yeltsin gave power to Vladimir Putin, who started changing the country. But that change started even before his presidency, because in 1999 Chechen terrorists were active not only in Caucasus but also in Moscow. So the Prime Minister Putin, by saying that we will kill the terrorists even in bathrooms, gained his initial popularity and started solving the terrorism problem, which will take 10 years since the Second Chechen War will be till 2009. But a more complicated problem was the economy, since you just can't solve it by force. One of the clues came by itself. I mean oil. The Iraqi freedom operation by the US and Chinese economic growth increased the oil prices, which gave Russia a lot of money, since Russia is one of the biggest oil-producing countries in the world. This led to two incredible things. First is the Moscow city. A huge number of skyscrapers in the capital were built to show the economic comeback of Russia. One of the buildings is owned by the oil transporting organization Transneft, called Evolution Tower, with a unique DNA kind construction. And second, maternity capital. $6,500 for giving a birth to a first child and $9,000 for the second and further children. This program was made possible by the oil money, something what people from Alaska could understand. That is the only state in the US that is getting money from oil. In 2022 they gave $3,284 to everybody and $1,312 in 2023.
Welcome to Alaska. Here's $1,000.
Well, it's about time.
The standard of living was the main problem of Soviet Union, so solving that problem, building a strong middle class was the main objective for Putin if he wanted to build a strong country like United States or Germany. Another clue to prosperity was the new Prime Minister Mikhail Kasyanov, and with Putin they repeated the Reaganomics trick. The problem of the Russian taxation system was that it was hard to understand and the rates were high, so there was a large number of people for who it was just easier to avoid taxes rather than pay them. That's why the government reduced the number of taxes from 56 to 16. The personal income tax was 30% and the corporate income tax was 35%, and Putin reduced them to 13% and 24% respectively, and the treasury started making money and not losing it. And you might think that if it was that easy, then why didn't Yeltsin try it? The answer is autocracy, which helped Putin. And I'm not saying that autocracy is better than democracy, no, of course. But the thing in the 90s Russian parliament was that there was a large number of communists who were against market economy changes. As in the US, any Republican can call Democrats socialist or communist, but still, even if the party is socially orientated, it's still a capitalist party. But in Russia, communists were against it every time. So Putin stopped playing the game that Yeltsin was playing and took advantage of power, brought his people and started making reforms more effectively. But one of the changes that Putin made, and everybody liked it, 10 days of holiday in the New Year Christmas period, when people can meet every relative, play all the video games, visit other cities and eat all the cookies, while in the US it's just 2 days. Also, the new era made it possible to appear such IT companies as VK, an analog of Facebook, which's inventor later made Telegram and got problems from the French government this year. But a bigger project is Yandex. Initially, it was a search system like Google, which over time became a huge ecosystem with food delivery, an AI app, an online store, and a taxi with a self-driving option. So it's like Google, Amazon, Spotify, and Uber in one. There is a reason why developing countries such as Russia are better in perceiving technologies than developed countries. The developing countries can take the best inventions and ideas from the developed ones, while the second have done a lot of steps to the technology, and it's not that easy to reject the previous steps because of bureaucracy or people just got used to it. All this was great until some point, and I'm not talking about 2014 Ukrainian crisis, when Russia got sanctions for taking Crimea, and not about oil prices going down that year. There was a problem even before that was perfectly represented by one agricultural company, Rostselmash. In 2012, Putin asked why they moved part of their business to Canada, and the CEO of that organization said that it became inefficient to fully rely on Russia. Bureaucracy in Canada is easier, you don't have to hire a lot of security, the interest rate is lower, and instead of 65 countries, you need just 14. You see, the thing is, when it was year 2000, it was a great place for foreign investors to give money, since in Russia at the time the labor price was low, though people were well educated, and the competition was easy. But as time goes on, wages increase, the competition grows, and it's not that efficient to invest. The country's wages are higher than in the third world, but lower than in the first world countries, and can't grow because of the reasons that I mentioned before, and that's called a middle income trap. Solving that problem is an important thing, but at that time the government was more concentrated on geopolitical questions. And how the economy worked under the sanctions of 2014 and 2022 is a topic for another video. Write in the comments what videos you'd like to see, hit the like button and subscribe so as not to miss the next video.